Hello and welcome back to Room Ravioli, and our next speaker is going to be Massimo Di Pierro, which is going to speak about web development with Web2Py.
Hello everybody. Thank you. So I come from Chicago, where I teach at DePaul University. It's a very large school, the largest department of computer science in the US, but I'm a physicist. Anyway, my job is to make web development easy, and that's why I made Web2Py. What does it mean easy for me? It does not mean dumbed down. It does not mean visual programming. It means something more intuitive, more expressive, more powerful syntax. Easy does not mean for kids. It means for experienced developers as well, so you can focus on more on your algorithms rather than maintenance, and you can reduce your maintenance cost. And I don't claim any success. I just tell you what I've been doing to try to achieve this goal of making web development easier. So this is what's inside Web2Py. So the basic idea is you get a zip file, and in this zip file you have the web server, and you have a database abstraction layer, and you have the SQLite database, and you have a web-based IDE. We also package all kind of libraries in there that we know they work together. Some we wrote, some we took from third parties, like generators for XML, HTML, JSON, RSS, ICS, PDF, RTF services, XML RPC, JSON RPC, various methods of login, LDAP, PAM, Generain, Dropbox, Google, CAS, OpenID, Auth1 and 2, X509 certificates for login, markup languages, MarkMean and Markdown, payment methods like Google Wallet, Authorize.net, Stripe.net, connection to Memcache and Redis, and we use the layout of Twitter Bootstrap. So this stuff comes with it, so you know it already works when you install it. The database abstraction layer also supports many databases, about 11 different databases. So if you want to switch from SQLite to Postgres or Oracle, or you can easily do, it also works with the Google App Engine and MongoDB. So you use one database abstraction layer and you easily switch from one to the other. So we have a lot of contributors, I would say 200, 300 contributors, at least 6,000 registered users, but we have more. In 2011, we won the InfoWord the Bossy Award, and in 2012, the Technology of the Year Award. So we borrowed some ideas from other frameworks, model view controller design based on WSGI. From Java, we borrowed the idea of having archives for applications. So we have these W2P files that allow us to package a Web2Py application and transfer easily from one system to another. We have routing systems very similar to Django. The difference is that the roots the URLs are optional. You only do them if you want to. We have a template language which is very similar to Mako. It's in the sense that it's pure Python, but we have some differences, like we got the idea of blocks from Django. We have helpers, very much like Rails, with the difference that our helpers have the same name of HTML tags, like div span a, so it's easy to remember. We have a web-based database interface, very much like Django admin. We call it AppAdmin. We had some ideas of our own. Like first, we said that this has to be always backward compatible. So first release was in 2007. We added a lot of features, but we never broke backward compatibility. We promise we're not going to do it unless we change the name. We have one-click deployment for Windows, Mac binaries, or you can install it on a USB drive. Wherever you go, you plug it in, you have the web server running. No configuration, no dependencies, and secure by default. What that means is that basically there are no configuration files when you set it up. It's not like you don't have to do a configuration, just there are no configuration files, not at the framework level. And secure by default means that everything that certain basic configuration settings that other frameworks have that have security implication, we just lock them. We don't allow the users to mess up with certain security things. Another thing which is very different from Python frameworks is everything is a default. So here we follow much more Ruby on Rails. For example, you create a controller, you automatically get a view. You don't like it, you change it. You create a table in database, you automatically get an interface to interact with that table. You don't like it, you change it. So you can change everything, but everything is a default. Another big difference from every other framework is multi-project. So you have one Web2Py installation, you can install as many applications as you want, It doesn't matter who created them. They were not designed to work together, but they will work under one instance of the framework. And each two of them can, by default, have everything separate. Their own authentication, their own access control, their own databases. But you can have them share data if you want them to. There is a web-based IDE, and you can do everything through that. You can do development, you can edit files, deployment, management, testing, debugging, version control through the IDE, but you don't have to use it. Like, if you want to use Emacs in the shell, you do that, like you do with Django, and sometimes I do that. Another thing we do is automatic DB migration. So we, like in Django, you do a sync DB when you create a table. You have nothing like that here. You just write your table, it automatically does something equivalent to syncDB, but does it for you. And also, you change your models, it automatically does alter table for you. There is nothing you have to do, basically. You just edit your file, you say what the content is supposed to be, and we'll try to alter the table and port the data so that what's in the database matches what you want. Also, we have a plugin system and component system that work via Ajax, and that's, I don't think I will have time to talk about that today. We have a role-based access control mechanism and pluggable authentication modules. And every app has a central authentication service consumer and provider. So you can install two Web2Py app and you can say this one delegates authentication to the other one. That's built in by default in any app. There is a built-in cron, nobody really uses that, but there is a built-in master worker task scheduler. So you can say, I want 10 workers and my web application can submit tasks to the workers. Every table has full auditing. It needs to be enabled, but it's just a one parameter that you can set at the application level. And we have Ajax embeddable controls. So this is how it looks like. And I think at this point, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go through, well, actually, let me run this demo. So this types for me. So you download Web2Py and you unzip it and you go under it. And you start it, and you say what password you want to use as administrator, and then you open it. Okay, this is what you see, and then you go to administrative interface, and you say hello, and this is Web2Py, and now it doesn't quite fit, but you can make it fit. So these are I want to make a new application test. Make a new application test. Here's my new application. I have the models, controllers, and so on. I can go and edit all the kind of things I want to edit here. I can go back to my site. I can see all my applications installed. I can edit them. I can package them to give somebody. Like I made this application test right now. I want to package it. And now I want to give it to somebody and they want to install it. So they go there and they take it and they want to install it with another name, test3. It's up and running on the other machine. Okay, that's how you do it. Let's say if you want to look inside these are the actual modules. It's only 1.6 megabytes. It's smaller than most of the other frameworks. It's actually smaller than some of the micro frameworks, except that it comes with applications. Okay, so it actually comes with where was I? It comes with. I installed something here. Let me uninstall them. Uninstall this. Uninstall this. So it comes with 3 applications, and that's where all the space actually is. So admin is itself. So the web-based ID is an application itself. You can remove it. Examples is a clone of my website, so there is all the documentation there. Welcome is the scaffolding application. Every other application you make a copy of welcome. So you don't start from scratch. So that's where all the space goes. There are images, there are things in there. Otherwise, it's 1.6 megabytes. It's very small. So let me make a new application called Polls. I can do it through the interface. I can just make a folder, and I can copy welcome in it. Okay? And I can go in there, and I can start editing files, but actually I already made it. It's there. Okay? That's how you make an application. Now, as we said, we have different, if I go into Polls, I have a structure in here. So I have certain files it comes with, and in particular models. So the models are the file that contain the description of the data representation, what you want to store in the database. The controllers are the workflow. So every function here is a page. And the views are the presentation of the data. So given that you want to expose certain data, how should it be rendered in HTML or in JSON or in something else? So let's make a polling application. So let's create a table poll. Can you read it? Yeah. Okay. Let's make a table poll. There's a field question, and there's a field publication date, which is date time, and that's it. Now let's see what happened here. And so let me do it from here. Let me reload this page. Okay. So I have a database. I already get this interface, and I can already go and I can insert records in my poll table. I already get this part for free. And I can go and see in the SQL log that the table was created. So you wrote the SQL to create the table. Now let me change this. Okay, so how did I change it? First I said that a poll is a field question and also it's a signature. So I'm going to sign this polls. And also I have choices, a choice reference a poll, and as a text, which is the option, and there's votes. So given this poll, there are many choices. Each choice has the number of votes, which is an integer. So I do this, and I go back here, and I access my database administration again. So this other table was created, and I see various things here, like if I want to insert a record, I see that I have a Dropbox. I don't have options yet. I'm not creating any data in there. But another thing I can see is that I go SQL log, and it did various things. It created choice, but also did alter table to change my other table for me. Okay? It does not just do alter table. It does alter table, create table, drop, and moves data from one type to another if it knows how to do the conversion. If it does not know how to do the conversion, it will tell you, I don't know how to do it. Okay, so let's remove the default controller that it comes with, and let's make our own from scratch. Okay? So let's make a function index returns locals, and let's make another function manage that requires login and returns what's called a smart grid. So give me a smart grid about this table poll. And also give me a way to expose authentication. So this line was actually there before. I deleted it, now I wrote it. Okay, so what do we get now? What we get now is this. I now can actually click on poll, and I'm calling the function index. And I created another function called manage. And I said that this requires authentication. So it's not allowing me to access that. It wants me to log in. But I already have all the exposed authentication, so I can register. So now I'm registered, go back, and now I have an interface to manage my polls. Okay? And I can do search. This will give me pagination kind of things. What you see right now here is the equivalent of the Django toolbar. It allows me to look at the request object, the response object, what's in the session, which tables I have, and allow me to look at database statistics. So which selects were done, how long did they take, things like that. Okay, so let's populate this with some dummy data. So if I don't have any poll, insert one that says which color, and color can be red, green, or blue, and insert a choice where the choice text is the color, and the poll this choice is about is the ID of the poll. Okay, so we do this, and now we can reload this thing. Okay, so now I see that when I manage it, and now this is at the application level, the user level. So I can search for polls. Give me the polls that contain color. Well, there is one, of course. I can view it. I can look at the choices for this poll. I can edit the choices for this poll. I can add the choice to the poll. I can do all kinds of things already. Let's keep going. Let's edit the controller. Let's add some logic. Let's say that I rewrite this index, and I say from the table poll, select everything, order by, created on, so reverse chronological order when they were created, return them, and also add the details action that is going to give me the details about the poll and allow me perhaps to vote. A results is going to show me the results of polls. So let's move on. Let me remove the default view that I always get the default one. So we get another one. And let's make a new one. So we extend the default layout. And if we have a list of polls, give me an HTML table. And for every poll in the list of polls, display the thing. And this is very similar to the Django template language, except that it's pure Python. You don't need to learn anything else. Anything you can do with Python, you can do it here. You open the block with colon. You close the block with pass. Okay, that's the only thing you need to know. Like else, pass. That's the only thing you really need to know. So we're done with this. So let's reload our application now. So I'm going to reload this thing. And I'm going to reload actually index, not manage. Okay, so this shows me my polls. So if I now click on which color, it goes to details. I've not implemented details, so let's do that. So let's implement details. And let's say get the argument, so which poll, get that poll, return that poll. And let's edit let's do one more thing. Let's also get a form about this poll. And this is going to be a form that displays the choice and the options and uses a radio widget. And let's edit the view for this detail, which extends the layout. It tells me the poll questions. It shows me the form. And let's reload this. OK, so let's go back where I was. I now click on this, and now I get the radio widget. OK. So we edit this again. And now we say that if the form is processed and accepted, get the choice I voted for, update the record, increase the votes to 1, and say thanks for voting. And redirect the user to the results page. Results page takes this poll and return it. Again, so now I can vote for green and submit. I get to the result page. I have some default, which basically tells me, yes, you voted, but it's not showing anything yet because this is not implemented. So we implement that. So the results page should say which question and display each choice from these poll choices and the number of votes for each choice. So now I just reload this page and it tells me there's 1 vote for green. Now, as this application is built, it lacks something. So far, it's the same as the Django poll application that you may have seen in the Django web page. Now, let me vote for blue. So now there is 1 vote for green, there is 1 vote for blue. I can vote as many times as I want. This is not good, okay? But this is, I just was trying to mimic the Django poll application so you can tell the differences. Okay, let's edit the database again. And let's say that we add the new table vote. And we say which poll we voted for. And we sign this vote. And we also enable record versioning, so full auditing. And for testing purposes, we just make something more complicated, which is don't really need to do. But if I'm logged in, and if I'm not a member of the user administrators, make me member of the user administrator. Okay. Now let's edit the controllers again and say that we require login to see the details and to vote. And if I try to access this vote, and there's already a record for me, say that I voted already. Otherwise, and redirect me to the main page. Otherwise, if the voting form is processed and accepted, record the choice, insert a new record in vote, in which you say that this poll was voted by me. It knows who I am. Also, say that, okay, a few other things for fun. Let's add a full wiki to this application so I can document it. And let's say that I can only access the manage page if I'm member of the group of admin users. And that's it. So I think we're done with this. Oh, one more thing. So let's see what we have done so far. So now, let me go to index again. So I can vote because I just introduced the counting of the votes. So now I'm going to vote for green again. Submit. So now there are 2 votes for green, 1 for blue. If I now try to vote again, which color? You voted already, okay? If I try to go to manage, well, I can because I'm member of the user of the group of admin group. I made myself member. I can see the choices. I can see the votes. See the choices. I can see the votes. A few other things I want to show you. There are results for poll number 1. So it shows me the results, right? It shows me in HTML because I made an HTML view. Well, what if I want this in XML? I get in XML. What if I want this in JSON? So by default, this exports the data in all kinds of things. So if a controller returns some data, by default, it knows how to represent it for you in XML, HTML, JSON, ICS calendar, RSS, Google Maps. Depending on the data you return, it knows what to do. You can override that. That's what we have done for the HTML. But you have the other ones. You always have them unless you disable them. OK. So another thing we want to do is fix the menu, because this default menu is crap. So we change it. And we say that there is a menu file, and it's another just configuration file at the application level. And we say that the title is supposed to be polls, the subtitle is that, and we have a menu, and we want to go, thank you, from home to the default index, from wiki to the wiki page, from manage to the manage page, and that's it. Okay, and this is actually the end of the presentation. Now I have the menu here. So now I can go to home, and I can see my election, my polls. I can go to wiki, and I can create wiki pages, and I can edit wiki pages, a wiki syntax, and so on. I can only do that because I'm administrator. I can manage my polls. Now this is a fully working application. I can edit my profile as a user. I can change my password. I can log out, and you can do all this kind of things. So this is Web2Py. Questions?
Oh, that's really cool. Does anyone anyone have a question?
I do.
Okay.
You only have time for 1 question, unfortunately. So the next one you can speak outside. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I was wondering how easy it is to change the main template.
Okay.
And another thing is that there you seem to have like all this like debugging controls and stuff. Is it easy to get rid of them for like if you want to?
Oh, you see, now I got rid of them. Yeah, they're not there anymore. As soon as you give a view, you create a view, they go away. In the default view, they are there. As soon as you implement them, they go away. And you can implement a 1-line default. You can even change the default. You can say by default, I don't want them. So a few things which I did not mention. There is a built-in ticketing system. Every time there is a bug in the application, the user is issued a ticket. The ticket is recorded. Tickets with the same traceback are grouped together. There is an interface to access all the tickets. You can see which user had the problem. You can see the traceback, all the variables for that user. There's a web-based shell. There are all kinds of things I didn't talk about. I didn't talk about the AJAX controls. I mean, all these controls can be accessed via AJAX and embedded in other pages. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Thanks for the talk. I got a quick question. Is it in Python? Does it also fully support Python 3, or is it still in 2 point something?
This is 2.7. We support 2.6, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. A previous version of this has been ported to Python 3, but we don't want it to be ported to Python 3. And the reason is we have a promise of backward compatibility. So what we are going to do, we're going to have a Web2Py that is different. We'll have some of the same features. We'll work with Python 2 and Python 3. And if you choose to run it on Python 2.7, we'll run existing Web2Py code. But it will be a new thing called Web2Py, and we're already working on it. So we should be done by, long ago I promised by March. So yeah. I have to say there's not been that much pressure to get it done. People like this. A lot of people said don't change it. So.
Are you doing some changes to Are you doing some changes in Web3Py compared to this in a way how things work? What are the most important differences?
Okay, from the user interface, we don't want to change the user interface. From most of the libraries, there is very little change which is required. That's in fact 2 people have separately ported already to Python 3, okay? We just don't tell anybody. The problem is, what other changes do we want to make? I mean, if we're going to break backward compatibility, let's make it in a bold way. And there are 2 groups of people that want 2 opposite things. And one of the big features for me here is the fact that you have one instance and you have multiple applications. And they separate everything. They can even use different versions of the same Python modules, and they are separated. That's done because Python modules, because controllers are not imported, they are executed. This is the one thing that 50% of the people love, because you can do this, and 50% of the people hate because they say that's not how Python works.
It probably breaks like static analysis, like when you try to...
It breaks certain things.
For example, wouldn't see how it is
You still import modules. I mean, you still import modules, but the controllers are not imported. So if the controller is just, these are the functions that expose pages, and then those functions import something else, everything is, you can still use modules. So the thing is, should we get rid of that and change it or not? And yes, we can make it a little faster if we do, but we lose some functionality people like. So we're not really reached a consensus. So our plan is to remove it, and then the compatibility layer where you can say, I want it. This is what we are trying to do.
Sorry, I have one question. Before, I've never used Web2Py, never. It looks really, really amazing. The next thing I want to do when I come back home is try this. One question I had is, in one of your views, okay, or no, in the controller, in one of the controllers, you had, so you basically did return locals.
Yes, I just did for speed.
Okay, but that isn't recommended, or?
It's not really an issue. You can return dict, and you return specifically what objects you want to return.
I'm just saying, like, okay, but in any case, I'm saying it's not a good. Is it a good practice to do that, or?
As long as that's a security issue if you use the generic views, the default views. That's a security issue. Okay. Because you may be able to access variables that are not meant to be exposed.
Exactly.
The default views by default are disabled unless you are on localhost. So you have them during development, but in production they actually go away. So that security issue goes away. We recommend that you always return a dict.
Okay. If I import a module, can I access it?
Yes, you can import any Python module you like, normally, as you would normally do.
But when you do return locals, so let's say I have a module called admin, like settings or something, right?
No, unless you import it into the function. If you import it outside the function, no.
If I import it outside?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Just one thing I forgot to say, which I think it's really nice, so I want to show you. If you want to do internationalization, you choose your language, like Italian, and you click edit and you translate to Italian here. Wow. You translate your strings and you click submit, it's in Italian.
It's very, very cool.
I have some question about the installation of this framework, because last time I checked it was not possible to install it from PyPI.
No, you don't, yes.
So what's behind this decision?
It's really not a decision. When we made it in the form of a zip file because we don't want it to affect or be affected by which Python packages you have. Most people, for example, may have 2 or 3 different versions of Web2Py running when they need to port stuff. So we want to make that easy. So you have one version of Web2Py, and then you install another version, you copy your files over, and so you can make it that way.
What about virtual environments? Can you use it?
You can use virtual. So the only problem with PyPy is there's nothing that in principle prevents it from work. In fact, it did work. It's just that the guy who did it kind of disappeared. So I did not have the pressure to fix it, because most of the people just get the zip file. But there's no reason why That cannot be. It's a PyPy configuration issue. It's not a Web2Py issue.
Okay, so are you open for contributions? Yes?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have Google Code, GitHub, Google Code, Google Group, very much. I mean,
Okay.
you know, at this point, other people do most of the development, not me. I mean, I did the beginning. And I still check everything, but.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to ask, let's say, with the installation and production,
Yes.
like how easy is it to, for example, let's say, scale your setup?
If you go to the GitHub repo, and there is a folder here called scripts. And you find scripts for all kind of things like set up on Heroku, set up on Nginx, WSGI on CentOS. And what they do is you just download that one script, you run that one script, it will install everything for you, including the OpenSSL certificates. So you just pick the configuration you want. You may need minor tweaks, but it would, that's how we install it. I don't even get the zip file, I didn't get that.
One question. So do you think there is still a reason to use Django, or this could replace anything, any new project that you would do with Django?
No,
What is
that's a
your
question I
opinion
don't
on
really
this?
want to answer being recorded. No, I'm going to answer. Let me say this. I was a Django user before creating Web2Py, okay? And I did this content management system for the United Nations. It was a relatively big project, and I really enjoyed Django. We invited the people who made Django at my university to give talks, and I really like Django. I still very much like Django. And Sting has a much bigger community than we do, about 5 to 10 times bigger. Personally, and Django is a little faster in certain, it's up to 2 times faster. It depends on what you do. From the point of view of the development time, I always find that Web2Py is much faster and less code to write. I have not really found something for which I need Django that I cannot do in Web2Py. I never found that, because any module out there, except people. Right now, our problem as a community is that there are a lot of people who contact me and say, we have jobs and we want it to be done in Web2Py because after it's developed, we know how to do the maintenance. And so people ask me, and there are not enough people. I mean, I don't know who's going to do this project then. I don't know what to say, because that's not my job. I'm not a consultant. Sometimes I do, but it's rare. My job is to teach. So right now, that's a major problem. It'd be nice to have more people.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.